Hello, everyone. Unbalance after the ride share policy. Basically, if anyone's done ride share out there, you do ride share, and then once the ride has concluded, or even sometimes during the ride, the client, customer, whatever one may call him or her, they can make a comment like about your driving. Now, the policies in itself, nothing is wrong with it because as I know, and most of everyone out there should know, that those who own the company can make the rules. However, my expression about it is that when I was doing it, there were a few times where I would have, I had a ride and took a client to their destination with, from my vantage point, no hiccups. Like the driving was smooth, no car collisions, no, no kind of music was playing loud and things of that nature, right? Um, But then there were times after some rides where I would get an email from the ride share company that I was working for saying that, the client complained about something. And there's nothing wrong with a client or a customer complaining. I'm all for that. However, I believe that the driver, maybe the man or the woman, should be able to retort to that claim. Um, and that somewhat can be done. But in most cases, it's like the customer is always right, which is a policy that I do not agree with. Because I think most things have to have context. And if everything has two sides to a story, in fact, really three sides, everyone knows the cliche. You have, one person's thoughts, another person's thought, and then there's the truth. However, in this situation, as it pertains to doing rideshare, it's what the driver says, and then there's what the client slash the customer says, right? So I think that would help make things a lot more smoother for having solutions. Because there were times where, like I said, things had transpired with me, and if I didn't appeal it, then they probably would have um, disqualified me from the app. Now, again, if I'm disqualified from the app for something that I actually did do, I'm all for that. But it's a serious imbalance in the ride share policy. And I'm sure some of you all may have dealt with this. And if you have, you can leave it in the comment. That's just it's ridiculous. Now another reason it's ridiculous is because the contact policy, some of them allow you to call them outright. Some of them you can call outright, but first you have to reach certain checkpoints within the apps. Like you have to have so many rides, so many stars, and things of that nature. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think communication should be able to be made more easily and smoother between the company and the individual doing the ride share. Um, because when I would sometimes, like I said, it wasn't often, but sometimes when I would receive that notification about a client said this and a client said that, the first thing I said to myself after, okay, that's fine. The second thing I thought was, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Now, on one side, one may say, well, the customer won't lie, but we know that not to be true because humans lie every day. So we know that's not true. Um, so that was kind of what made it unfortunate at times. Again, like I said, it has happened to me. Well, I don't do it no more, but It had happened to me a couple of times when I did rideshare. But the thing is, though, there's definitely a solution to that. And I would have had implemented it if I was still partaking in the rideshare industry. But my days of that are over, though I've had wonderful experiences, met some good people, had some good lessons, had some wonderful things reiterated to me, excuse me. But the solution now is what we have seen. Um, there's abundance of drivers that have cameras in their car. And they don't just have it like on the front dashboard. They have it on the front and they have it on the back. And I think one of the reasons is, of course, safety. I definitely understand that safety, 'cause safety first. Because again, we're dealing with humans, and humans can be dark. Not all of us, but enough of us. So that's the first reason, safety. But then the other reason, in my personal opinion, is because of the policy. You know, a client could just hop out the car. They don't even necessarily got to be out the car. They can be in your vehicle riding and making a complaint, excuse me, that has no validity. And like, we need proof. You know, I mean, we have that in every other industry in life. You commit a crime. In most cases, they want proof. They call it evidence. So, and when doing rideshare, there should be evidence. I mean, I've taken rideshare before, and I never had any unfortunate situations. And when I say unfortunate, felt as though my life was in danger, felt as though I need to get out the vehicle, etc., etc. But I would have definitely had proof. Because see, this is not about being the person driving the vehicle, working for the rideshare platform, or the person who's taking the platform because he or she is trying to get the A to B. It's about the flaw in the policy, which could work in the unfavor of the driver and the individual client in the back seat. But I'm speaking it from a driver's disposition because, again, there were times I was driving and, like I said, I would get that email. It was one time I got locked out, and I thought I did something worth locking me out for, like um, I took the wrong person somewhere, or I had one of their belongings and then try to reach out to them, or I sped off and splashed water on a person. But no, 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 that was never the case. It was just things that were really minute. And another thing that I think would help is if they would have just tried to like talk to me, like ask me my side. You know, I mean, because the way people false advertise today, as they did yesterday, and as they will in the future, I mean, we should want to have proof, don't you say? You know, I believe the cliche is it's one thing to say something, and it's another thing if you have evidence to prove it. Even though in some instances, in some rideshare, there's been rideshare stories where there was evidence, and in most of the cases, it was the right solution was came to as far as when people went to court and things of that nature. But then there were times where they had evidence, and the evidence didn't matter. But still, it's just if these rideshare apps just give the um, the contract worker, aka the driver, the ability to just tell his or her side, I think that it would be better for business. Because personally, I think that current clients, some of the customers, no matter the race, no matter the age, they probably think they have leverage. Like, hey, I could just get in your vehicle, and depending on how my spirit feel, I could just make up something, and there could be no proof. They're not gonna ask for no proof, and only one party would be suffering a consequence. And I just think I don't think that's right. But I think this was something that need to be spoke about because I'm sure, again, there's individuals out there enduring that currently. And they're probably like, what the heck? That's not true. That's not inaccurate. I mean, that's inaccurate. And of course, there's always context to everything. But hey, what do I know? Just a hypothesis. Tell me what you think. Um, yeah, like, share, and subscribe. And again, if there's anyone out there that feel as though they're alone, working on their goals and need that extra push, trying to enhance their mindset or just work on their mental health because most things, actually, correction, all things stimulate from within and start from inside. So if you need some help figuring that out, um, here's my book. Feel free to go to Amazon and get it. Check it out. There's a link below. You can click that. It'll take you right to it. You can purchase it. It'll help you. It'll help a friend. And in fact, it will even help an enemy. And yeah, that's all for today. You all have a good one. Talk to you all later. Peace.